Hello, crafty friends, and welcome back. I have a layout today for Mad About Mini Paper Pads, and one of my favorite ways to use these smaller paper pads is to create pocket pages. So today I pulled out the Simple Stories 6x8 paper pad from Simple Vintage Coastal something. And I do pull out these 4 stickers from this baking sticker sheet because I am documenting uh, dinner pictures from our last night in Destin. And so here you can see that if I turn my paper lengthwise, it is just short of being long enough to go into that top pocket. This is one of the We Are Memory Keeper or Memory We Are pocket pages. And that top one, as you can see, is all the way across. And then you have 2 smaller ones that are just slightly smaller than a 4x6 size pocket. So those two, I use 2 separate pieces of paper, and then some of the scraps will come into play a little bit later. And I'm also going to be flipping back and forth from working on the front of the pocket to the back of the pocket. And so this was one evening after I'd worked all day, and so I had this idea and started pulling out little bits that I thought I might want to use, and got it all planned out of how I thought I was going to put everything together. So that's what you see me working on here, just pulling out ephemera from 49 and Market. And so there are some turquoise pieces, some peach colored pieces, and a little bit of black, and some of those flower branding strips that I had bits and pieces left over. So now you can see that I've flipped to the back side, and so once I had the front side planned out, that I decided that it might be easier to lay those off to the side, so you can kind of see them just off of the screen off to the left there. And I thought I would do the same thing for the back pockets and kind of get it planned out. And so when this section started, that's what was laying on my desk when I went to bed. And so now the next night I am finally working on executing putting the page together. So these were part of the 2 scraps, and I'm using them as a photo map, but I'm just offsetting them, and I did decide to distress the edges and just to give some texture to that page. And so I do distress on each of the 3 pockets on the back side to just help give some texture to the overall page. So here, getting that other darker coral color, that was also a scrap, and decided to use that underneath the photo here as kind of like an anchor for these pieces that I'm adding. So as I was digging through something the other day, I found this lobster brad, and my mom had lobster that evening at the restaurant, and so I thought I would put it on her page here, adding a small tiny worded rub-on there at the top. And the brad was actually one that actually had the tines, and normally I tend to break the tines off and use a hot glue gun to adhere those to my page, but honestly I was too lazy to get my hot glue gun out, so I did poke a hole and did it the old-fashioned way. So here I'm working on that top pocket here, and I wasn't really using any other papers, and I didn't want to distress the outside, so I did decide to distress my photo. I don't have a problem doing that in the digital age, that I can reprint this picture as many times as I want to, and so just barely distressing the edges was not anything major for me. So adding some embellishments here, I've got a rub on that I'm adding down below. I have this laser cut that says maybe favorite memory. I think that's what it says. And then adding this blue heart there at the bottom. And then I decide that I've kind of got this blank spot over to the side, and so I pull out this scrap from a branding strip that once I am done with this project, I will go through and throw out the tiny pieces like that. But while I'm working on a big project, I do keep those tiny little pieces because sometimes they can come in handy to just for this very reason. So now I've pulled out the enamel shapes from Kaleidoscope that it had that peach color that I wanted to pull out on this side of the layout. And so I'm just adding some little hearts and dots all around. And that, I think, wraps up this side. So now I have flipped back to the front side of this pocket page, and you can see that now I'm pulling everything off, and I'm going to start executing by putting everything down. I did add this doily in here that wasn't there before, and so I do decide to trim down my photo just a little bit more so that doily shows out, and that's kind of representing the plate, and then I will have the silverware that goes on either side of the doily. Full disclosure, I was pretty sure I knew the silverware setting, but I did double check to make sure which side the fork and knife and spoon were supposed to be. And so that is how I placed those stickers on this particular card. And then I had this little tiny piece of peach colored lace, and I just kind of stuck it on just to get it used. So at the top is that other wood grain sticker that came on that same sticker sheet, and it says, I think, Happy Tummies, something like that. So that card is finished up. So now I move on to the other 4x6 sized card, and these are just random pictures of some of the meals that we had. Somebody got the risotto, and that was actually one of the meals that I was considering getting, but mine is actually the picture on the left of the grouper. And then my daughter, who is a very picky eater, that she only ordered the garlic mashed potatoes. So that is the single scoop that almost looks like a scoop of ice cream. That's just her scoop of mashed potatoes. However, she did end up trying several different things from various family members because we couldn't take any leftovers home because this is our last night at the resort, and we were flying home the next day fairly early, so we wouldn't even really have time to eat it for lunch before we left. And so we were just sharing amongst each other, trying different things. And so she did try some lobster from my mom, as well as some of my sister's crab cake. And I can't remember if she tried my fish, and I can't remember if she tried anybody else's, but those were the main things that I do remember her trying, and she did actually like them. So she is a very picky eater, and it actually worked out just fine that she only ordered the mashed potatoes and helped the rest of us complete our meals or not waste as much as we would have. So now I moved on to this upper card here that I have one of those paper clips, and I think I clipped it to my photo here. It says love, and I consider using this snapshots, and when I was planning out the page, I did consider using this blue snapshots originally, and then for some reason I decided to switch to the other one. But in the end, I do decide to use this blue one, and I will pop it up with some foam adhesive. And then here you can see that I have pulled out all of the drinks that I had left from the Beach Vibes collection and sprinkling those around this layout as well, since I have pretty much used almost, well, I feel like I've used almost all of the collection. That maybe I'll do a video showing what I have left from that collection and some of the Sunburst collection as well. That those were primarily the papers that I had used originally. And so stay tuned. Maybe I will put something together like that. Anyway, here you can see me putting the foam adhesive. I do like to use these little strips that I think they're from Scrapbook Adhesives. And so I go ahead and just use those to get the small areas, and then I fill in with the other adhesive pieces. So, and then here I think I'm putting the final touches on. I'm grabbing 3 of these word enamel dots around here to get some shine on this page. And so here are the final photos. So if you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave those down below. If you like what you saw, go ahead and give me a subscribe if you want to come back and see what I'm working on next. I will have a playlist down below of everybody playing along with Mad About Mini Paper Pads. And I also have links to all of my social media accounts as well. So thank you for stopping by, and we will see you next time. Bye.